this year, we've seen a quiet bull market in the contract manufacturing space. With stocks like Jabil, I talk about them a lot, Celestica, Sanmina, and then Flex, which I haven't talked about in a long time, all soaring. Wall Street's betting that these outsourced manufacturers will become more important for their customers in the era of high tariffs, where the White House is constantly scrutinizing everybody's manufacturing footprint. But tonight, I want to focus on Flex. Now, this is a business formerly known as Flextronics. Until its rebrand nearly a decade ago, we used to have them all the time. Lately, Flex has been getting a lot of attention because of its exposure to the data center. They're heavily involved in IT integration as well as power and cooling, most of what you need to set up these big warehouses full of servers. And that's why the stock is up more than 33% year-to-date, 17% over the past 12 months. So can it keep running? Let's check in with Revathi Advaithi. She is the CEO of Flex, to get a better sense of what's going on in the industry. Ms. Advaithi, welcome to Mad Money.
Jim, thank you for having me, and congratulations on your 20 years.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Now, your company is a vastly changed company from the Flex that I know. The Flex that I know used to build at scale some footwear, gaming consoles, smartwatches. This is a much more intellectually powerful company. And it's not like the other contract manufacturers either. So because this is your first time on the show, I'd like you to give us the company overview, knowing, yes, that it is your quiet period, so we're not going to grill you on how you're doing specifically.
Yes, thanks, Jim. So first is I've been in this role for 6 years. This is my 7th year. So thank you for having me on the show. So Flex is a very different company today and has really been changing its portfolio over the last 6-7 years. I would say 75% of our business today still falls into the contract manufacturing space, where we make really high-end products for markets like industrial, automotive, high-end consumer products, and healthcare. And in this, we not only make the product, but we'll manufacture very complex, sophisticated supply chains for our customers. And we do this across the globe, whether it is in North America or Europe or in Asia, everywhere. In North America, as an example, we have around 16 million square feet of manufacturing space. But what we excel in the contract manufacturing space is very high-end, very difficult to make products, and we make that end-to-end. And you know very well, in the last 6 years, manufacturing in these complex supply chain times is very, very difficult, and Flex excels in that. So that's 75% of our portfolio. But what we've been doing in the last 6 years is building the remaining 25% of our portfolio, which is in the data center and utility space. And that this year is estimated to be around $6.5 billion in revenue, and it's growing at 35%, so sizable. But what makes it unique, Jim, is not the size, not the growth rate. You know very well, and you talk about this in your show all the time, is what is coming together is compute and power is coming together. So what is needed for compute is a lot of power. So what Flex does is really power all the compute chips. So we call that our embedded power products. Our own IP, our own product. We start working 3 to 5 years ahead with silicon providers, with hyperscalers. Then we build all the power that goes around in the data center all the way to the substation. Again, our own products. We did that through a series of acquisitions over the last 3 years. So as compute needs more and more power, it also needs more and more cooling. Right. And we bought our own cooling company, so we also do cooling associated with it. So this is what makes Flex really unique. It's the only company that puts power, that puts cooling, and puts all the IT integration together in one place. Okay. And Jim, that is going to be the future.
Well, absolutely. I mean, to me, your background is from Eaton. The division that you work with is why we bought that stock for our charitable trust. You've got the bona fides that are incredible. I think we do want to point out that all of the hyperscalers use you. That this is not just you don't have one client, you're trying to get the others. Everybody uses you. And in many ways, I like Vertiv. Well, you're Vertiv with other things that are necessary. So now I know there are other verticals, and there's a healthcare vertical, which is an auto. Those are all in flux. But what it sounds like that you are bringing is almost soup to nuts to anybody who wants to build a data center.
That's correct. Soup to nuts on anybody who wants to have infrastructure for the data center. And really what's important is pulling this compute and power together and cooling together. So not many people are doing that. People either build the power or they build the cooling or they build the compute. They're not putting all of that together. And in the future, how this whole white space, gray space works between IT integration and power integration is going to be super important. So we're working with customers 2, 3, 5 years ahead before this technology hits the market on how to put all of this together so you use the space correctly and then use all the efficiencies correctly, because it's all about power efficiency today, Jim, and you talk about this on your call all the time. So my background of running Eaton's electrical business when I came to Flex, and this was much before people started talking about NVIDIA and everything that you talk about, was someday compute's going to need so much power, we're going to find it hard to keep up with. And I was like, Flex does IT compute, and we do a little bit of power on the chip side. But putting all this together so they can work side by side seamlessly was really important. And today that technology is very fragmented, even today at customers and at us. So we work with all the hyperscalers, we work with the silicon providers, and we work with all the colos to put all these three technologies together.
Right.
And that business is doing fantastically well, growing at 35% at such scale of $6.5 billion estimated this year is pretty significant. So we're very excited about what the future holds for
now,
this.
many people in the news, of course, are saying, I don't know how much it will be to make something in Mexico. I don't know how much it will be to make something in Europe. You're everywhere. You're everywhere your customers want you. What are you advising customers when they say, you know what, I see you've got that giant manufacturing footprint in Mexico. I'm concerned. What happens with Mexico? What kind of advice can you give them?
Yeah, and Jim, we have square footage and footprint everywhere in the world, right? So we have footprint in Mexico. We have a very expanding footprint here in the US, the same in Europe, the same in Asia. So customers have been coming to us the last 5, 6 years as we're going through everything from geopolitics to COVID pandemic to supply chain resiliency. And we've been working with them to build for the region in the region. This has been an ongoing trend from kind of Trump tariff 1.0, so it's not a new thing. I'll give you a little statistic, Jim. I'd say in the last 5 years, if you think about our supply chain, what we use here in North America for North America, that has gone from 30% sourced in the region to 45% sourced in the region in the last 5 years. All that has been able to move here. My prediction is over the next 5, you will see that become 75%. There'll always be a tail, but a pretty significant portion of what you need can be made in the region for the region. And we work with our customers to help them and advise them on how do you move things, how do you start it up from scratch, how do you build an end-to-end supply chain. And so it's not a new thing. I would say it started 5 years ago and it continues still today. But our US square footage is growing pretty significantly. Jim, we just announced in Dallas a 500,000 square feet new facility to build just for power. 500 new jobs that we're hiring into, builds the traditional switchgear products that you know very well, that we're going to build right here in Dallas and expanding here in the U.S.
All right. Well, look, we want you to come back on and talk about all these great changes because it is quite exciting. You've changed this Flextronics into Flex, and I like what I hear. And I want to thank Revathi Advaithi. I'm going to get that right. And thank you for coming on the show. Congratulations on the let's say, the conversion to a very high-end model that makes me really want to own the stock versus what used to be what I said, oh, good, they can do it better than the other guy. You're doing very, very different things. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, and it's really great to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Absolutely. Mad Money's back after the break.
Coming up, Cramer takes your calls, and the sky's the limit. It's a fast-fire lightning round. Next.